Listen, bases loaded, bottom in the ninth. First of all, I just want to say, Frankfurt, Germany, stand up. I was born in Germany, 1985, lived there for 4 years. So before I start this video, I just want to say, Frankfurt, Germany, stand up. Pump up the volume, let it breathe. Déjalo respirar. Now, I came to America when I was like 4 years old. Stopped off in St. Louis first. Shout out to St. Louis. Let it breathe. Let it breathe. St. Louis was the first stop. You felt me? If you love this content today, we're giving you guys the backstory. So I've been here ever since I was 4 years old. I'm 39. So I've been living in America for 35 years. And people think I don't know what's going on. He said, you don't believe in racism because you don't understand racism. First of all, let's stop there. I don't need to understand anything but the word of God. That's it. I don't care about man-made terms. The word racism, you can't find racism in the Bible anywhere. You can't. So at the end of the day, I don't care about understanding any man-made term. If you have time for that, yes, it will make sense. But let me tell you guys something. I'm on my grind, so I don't have time to understand anything that's not going to pay the bills. As long as I've been alive, I done seen the freshest get evicted. I done seen the most coolest get evicted. At the end of the day, guess what? I'm not trying to end up on that same trajectory. Let it breathe. So with that being said, I could care less about understanding any man-made term. This man said, you don't have to be racist for racism to exist. Do some research, my dude. Let me tell you guys something. One of the best moments of my life. Moved to Phoenix 2 years ago. I was in the penthouse top floor, 25th floor, pump up the volume. And all my neighbors that was white congratulated me, invited me, for food. The only people who hated on me in the building were two black melanated women who couldn't afford to live in the penthouse. I'm not going to sugarcoat this video. So you want me to understand racism exists when black people are racist, but they're cowards. And what they do is they want to make it seem like, oh, we can't be racist. No, black people are racist. They feel like if you're not validated through them, they going to disrespect you too. So at the end of the day, going back to the story, I'm in a penthouse, cityscape. A co-worker there named a lady that was working there, front receptionist her name was Natasha. I'm talking about little light-skinned lady. She used to look at me with the most evilest look in her eyes, but I didn't care because I don't care about validation. I don't care about your cat. What you going to throw your cat at me? I'm not a catcher. You see what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, a woman could look at me with the meanest look. You still a woman. I don't care. So at the end of the day, you could mean mug all you want to. You could look at me like I don't take showers. I don't care. So at the end of the day, I'm going to be real with this video. When I first moved in the penthouse, the highest achievement of my life, I was hated on by two melanated women. I think one name was Kiera and one name was Natasha. At the end of the day, that's where all the hate came from. It came from two melanated women. And I share this story with you guys because at the end of the day, I don't believe in race. I believe in mean people are mean people. You can call them demons. You can call them possessed. Or we could keep this PG and we could just call them mean people. At the end of the day, you have mean people in every ethnicity, every culture. I don't care about mean people. I don't care about acceptance. I don't care about validation. In order to understand how racism works, you have to be unemployed. Because you can't be paying bills in the West Coast and you have time to research racism when you're actually paying rent and you got two keys. Like my thing is, I am busy and I am focused. I don't have time to learn about something that they teach people in the educational system. I'm gonna give you guys a little backdrop so you can understand my mindset. I was homeschooled, so I wasn't around kids until I was 13 years old. When I was 13, I went to Aberdeen Middle School, pump up the volume in a small town. But with that being said, when I was 13, I cared less about academics and I just wanted to socialize. Then in high school, let it breathe. I went to It wasn't a private school, but it felt like a private school. Everybody was pulling up in BMWs. I went to Joppatown High School, Let It Breathe, pump up the volume, and I played basketball. So I don't want to put my high school on blast, but if you play basketball, you don't have to go to class. So at Joppatown High School, shout out to my man, Raheem is real. This is a real video. My man Raheem, he had a townhouse right around the school. So everybody should just go to Raheem house right after school in a townhouse. And we were skipping class, going to townhouses. So I graduated high school, Lord knows what, a 1.8, 1.7 GPA. Then went to community college. Don't ask me why, but I just went. And then I had a friend, he went to Bowie State. And then he was telling me about all the girls on campus. And I was like, I went to visit and I was like, yo, this is like the Lion King. It's a stampede full of women. It's a stampede full of cat. So then I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go to Bowie State. Cause like I said, I was nice in track. So at the end of the day, when you're nice in sports, they pull a couple little strings for you. At the time, I was blind to the fact, but my coach, he was actually a Q, Omega Psi Phi. And it's a good thing I left there after a semester because I could have got easily influenced into probably joining the fraternity. And matter of fact, a couple of my friends at Bowie State, they pledged Sigma and they pledged Kappa, but I dipped the first semester at Bowie State because it was too small. And I went to college to, have a good time, party it up. But it's hard to party at a small school because everybody watched your moves. So shout out to Bowie State, but that school was too small. Now, with that being said, I went to Morgan State. I could care less about education. I went to Black History class, but I wasn't listening. I was looking at some of the flyest chicks from New Jersey, Philadelphia, New York City. So when I was in college, I didn't listen to a word that the educational system had to say. So at the end of the day, my mind is not corrupted and I feel great. Pump up the volume. That's just a backstory. From homeschooling to playing basketball and don't have to report to class and still graduate, to going to community college, which was easy. Shout out to Hartford Community College in the building. Pump up the volume. And go into an HBCU, they'll accept you with like a 2.0. Shout out to Bowie State. I ran track. They accepted me with like a 2.0. Actually, at Bowie State, I was kind of low focused. So I got my GPA up to a 2.7. It's still on the resume. I got a 2.7. It is what it is. And the cool thing about going to college, if you go to another college, your resume doesn't follow you. So I went to Morgan State and I never really attended class. We just went there and, I'm gonna be honest, we just went there for the women. At Morgan State, it was big litty. It was a party. We had Morgan Mondays, party on Tuesday, party on Wednesday, party on Thursday, party on Friday, party on Saturday. And I was in state and I got government assistance, got the Pell Grant. So at the end of the day, I am student loan debt free. So the fact that a lot of people that believe in racism, that's because they cared about the educational system. I never cared about the educational system. I still don't care about it because when you get into the educational system, especially if you go to an HBCU, then they're going to force that stuff into your head. But listen, shout out to all the beautiful women in college. It is what it is. Let it breathe. That's it. I just went to see the beautiful woman and shout out to all the beautiful women I date. I'm not going to call real names, but all you girls that went to charter school, oh my goodness, pump up the volume. What? Let's go. Charter school girls are the coolest girls ever. And you'll meet them when you go to college. So at the end of the day, my mind is not corrupted. And I'm thankful that I knew when I went to college, I wasn't trying to hear anything that they were talking about. I just went straight for the beautiful woman and the parties. And guess what? Debt free. I don't have to pay back any student loans. So at the end of the day, guess what? I always had a plan. And when you go to college just to party and you got a townhouse right down the street, listen, everybody from Morgan State was pulling up to my townhouses. We was throwing parties. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. Morgan State dated girls that went to Coppin State. It is what it is. So as far as the nonsense that they're trying to teach at HBCUs, I never listened to one word. Everybody put a 1 and a W after. I never listened to one word. And I'm just going to tell you the biggest hate that I received came from melanated people. I live in the suburbs. White people don't really care. As long as you got a key fob and you can pay your rent, they don't really care. So at the end of the day, the people that are quote unquote oppressing you all are my neighbors. And I'm gonna say this again, the quote unquote people that are oppressing you are my neighbors. So at the end of the day, I don't know. what you want me guys to believe. I'm not going to believe what you believe. I'm not going to wear a dashiki. I'm not going to go to the court and change my name to Ramak. I'm not going to do that. So at the end of the day, when it comes to racism, I will make 1,000 videos why I believe racism is for people who are little kids in their mind. They're not adults and they care about validation. And when they don't get validation from a certain ethnic group, they want to cry, they want to march, they want to protest, they want to boycott. But it all boils down to validation. If certain ethnic groups treated melanated people good, there'll be no complaints. But at the end of the day, they care so much about validation, they care so much about fitting into society, and they run into little jams, little obstacles, and they pull on their little Pampers, their little diapers, and they start crying. Oh, there's oppression. Listen, when it's all said and done, I met 40-year-old men talking about, I can't live next to white people. So you're gonna live on the south side of Phoenix because you don't want to live in Scottsdale? Okay, have fun. Different strokes, different folks. But I met some of the most racist people that I met in life were black people. So at the end of the day, don't tell me about white people being racist when black people are some of the most racist people ever. And you guys celebrate racist people like Martin Luther King. You guys celebrate racist people like the D9. They look down on you and they give you turkeys, and you guys take expired turkeys from people that look down on you. But you guys want me to believe that white people are racist. No, your D9 members are racist. Kamala Harris, all of them are racist. So with that being said, you have the quote unquote upper bougie class in the melanated community. It doesn't matter if they're Boule, it doesn't matter if they're D9, it doesn't matter if they're driving a Mercedes-Benz 300. They want to feel and look down on other people. So at the end of the day, I don't care about sad stories of racism. I don't care. As far as ancestors, who's to say our ancestors wasn't on 4x4s and dirt bikes and having a good time? All these stories that they tell you in the educational system are lies. They told you MLK was a good guy. He was freaking off before Sean Combs. He had the original Sean Combs parties. He was Sean Combs before Sean Combs. And I don't care what people say. I believe the majority of things that people tell us about the past are lies. And they continue to tell us lies. And I don't listen to lies. I believe at the end of the day, when it comes to America, the question is, can you pay 3 times the rent? And if you could pay 3 times the rent and you have a clean criminal record, guess what? You will proceed with the keys. And I'm gonna say this again. If you live in America, you can pay 3 times the rent and you have a clean criminal record, guess what? You will proceed with the keys. Let it breathe. There's only one race, and that's the human race. And at the end of the day, if you're really righteous, you got to love everybody the same. And when it's all said and done, if you're really righteous, you realize everything really boils down to hate and love. When it's all said and done, you got black haters. When it's all said and done, you got black people that show love. But at the end of the day, why worry about another ethnic group when our ethnic group run around with hate and they praise ancestors, dead fake deities, the Sphinx, and all these Egyptians, false gods? That's why they're in bondage, because they keep worshiping all these false deities and false Sphinx. I'm just going to tell it how it is. So the bondage is not coming because you're black. The curse is not coming because you're black. It's because you're pulling down your pants and you're taking paddles and you're worshiping false gods. That's where the curse comes in. When you worship when you worship a Sphinx and when you worship all these Egyptian gods, that's why you can't go anywhere in life, because you're worshiping the dead. God told you let the dead bury the dead, but no, they can't. They want to hang out, talk to their ancestors, commit crimes, steal Cheetos, and blame their theft on the ancestors. I stole a bag of Funyuns for the ancestors. I don't have time for that. With that being said, it's only one race as a human race. Let it breathe.